I've been noticing this really disturbing trend in movies and TV, and I find it just... Yeah, it's these weakling boys and these tough girls. Yeah, these weakling boys, you know, in like movies and such, the boy is bumbling and goofy and stupid and incompetent, right? And he's bumbling around like a fool. Whereas the girl, who's his same age or perhaps younger, is always like super competent and super cool and has all the answers and knows everything. And the boy who's supposed to be the protagonist, he's actually the Sancho Panza figure. He's the buffoon of the movie or the TV show or the book or whatever, right? What the hell? I mean, I noticed this consciously with this recent movie, Ready Player One, right? The Steven Spielberg picture. I hadn't really paid attention to pop culture in that regard, right? Because I'm interested in other stuff. But I noticed I was watching Ready Player One, and a lot of things struck me simultaneously about this particular movie. See, in Ready Player One, the protagonist, whose name I have no idea, well, you know, he was obsessed with 80s culture, okay? And he drove a DeLorean. You know, the famous car from Back to the Future. Now, this is interesting because, see, I actually grew up in the 80s. You know, I was 17 in 1985 when Back to the Future came out, right? I remember that picture. I was, of course, remember that picture. I was a senior in high school, and I adored it. I thought it was terrific. And yet, Ready Player One, which, by the way, is kind of weird. It's a movie obsessed with 80s nostalgia. And yet it's a science fiction picture that's set in like the year 2040 or something like that. I mean, it would be weird as if we today were obsessed with the pop culture of, say, the 1950s. Yeah, obsessed with the pop culture of the 1950s, even to the detriment of our own current pop culture. I mean, it's kind of weird, but okay, whatever the hell. See, in Ready Player One, the guy, the protagonist, drives around in his DeLorean, just like Marty McFly in Back to the Future drove around in the DeLorean, right? And, you know, the kid has a girlfriend, or some girl, I guess a girlfriend, right? Or a girl he likes. And he's this bumbling buffoon. I mean, he's a real idiot, right? And he doesn't seem capable at anything except regurgitating trivia, the trivia of the 80s, right? Which is weird. Yeah, because, see, in Back to the Future, Marty McFly, he was a very capable guy. Okay? I mean, number one, he was a very good guitar player. Number two, he was a very good skateboarder. And number three, and I think most importantly, is that, see, Marty McFly in Back to the Future, 1985, right? Yeah, he was goofy, he was a little bit high-strung, yeah, but he was competent, he was capable. And he had a girlfriend, and number one, the girlfriend was hot, and number two, he could handle her. Because that's the thing I find weirdest of the current crop of movies, and which is indicative of Ready Player One. See, the boy characters, they can't handle the girl. The girl is too big of a psychological presence. They are outmatched. The boys are outmatched by the girls, right? And this is a deliberate choice on the part of the writers and directors of these movies and TV shows and books, right? The writers deliberately want the boy to be a weakling. Now, if the writers deliberately want to portray the boys in these movies and TV shows and books as weaklings, there are two possibilities. Number one, the majority of guys today are weaklings, are bumbling buffoons who get tongue-tied and pathetic in the presence of a semi-attractive girl. Because, by the way, all the girls in the movies today, they're not very attractive. They're sort of like mannish, tomboyish. They're not attractive. I mean, at least the girl Marty McFly was dating, she was hot. She was a woman. She was a girl, right? But the girls today, they're mannish, kind of transsexual looking, quite frankly, extreme tomboyish. They're not sexually attractive, quite frankly. And like I said, they're super competent. The boy is like super weak and buffoonish. And so, either the boys are all weaklings today, and this is an accurate reflection of reality, or it's what the writers wish that boys were today. Wishes that the boys were weak and the girls are strong. Now, if this is an accurate representation and boys today are weaklings, then, you know, Western civilization is lost, and let's just throw in the towel right now. You know, just get me a side order of Coke and a few double cheeseburgers, and we'll just, you know, party our way through oblivion, right? If that's the case, that the boys are weaklings, right? But I'm guessing not. I'm guessing that the boys are not all weakling and pathetic and just, you know, little... I don't know what the hell to call these things. I mean, like, anyway, either that's true, but I don't think so. So what it is that, see, Hollywood wants to portray young men as weaklings. It's like fashionable, right? Well, of course, it is the fashion, see? It's the fashion nowadays for a guy to be weak. It's a fashion nowadays to a guy to be very tentative in his opinions. He never says, I think this, I think that, I agree with you, I disagree with you. No. They never say that. They're like, I don't know, maybe, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, I'm just saying, perhaps, or maybe it's true, or maybe it's not, it depends. I mean, wishy-washy crap like this, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just pathetic. They don't seem to have a firm, how can I put it, a firm point of view about reality. What the hell? See, fashion is a powerful thing. And when I say fashion, I'm not talking about clothes. I'm talking about the other fashions that are prevalent in any given society at any given time, right? Right now, there is the fashion for men, young men, people like you, to act all tentative and weak. Now, when you act a certain way, you begin to internalize that way. If you act weak, you will start to feel weak. And by the flip side, if you act strong, even when you don't feel very strong or very capable, but if you act strong, you will come across as strong and you will gain strength. And this is a lesson. It's very easy to fall into the temptation of acting weak. Because most of the time, you're not going to be 100% sure of what you're doing. You're not going to be 100% sure of what you're doing. You're not going to be 100% sure of what you're saying. Of what you're saying is accurate, or that what you were saying will turn out for the best. This is a natural state of affairs. Okay? Human beings can never be 100% certain about anything. Now, because of this, it will be easy for you to fall into the trap of acting weak and tentative and unsure of yourself. And because it is the fashion, you'll be categorized as just one other person who is going with the flow, acting the way everybody acts. And that, of course, is also tempting. So there are two temptations here. To, equivocate, because nobody can ever be sure about anything. And therefore, by equivocating, you assuage that feeling of insecurity, number one. And number two, by equivocating and acting weak and pathetic, you're going along with the fashion, and you're acting like everybody else. And you see the powerful temptation of this two-pronged approach to the problem. But this is what you have to do. What you have to do is reject this fashion. You have to reject it completely and utterly. And you have to project strength, especially when you're not sure. Absolutely. When you're not sure, when you're 60% sure, well, then that's the moment when you have to be like, okay, this is what I think and I'm sure of it, and move forward. Because you see, you're going to discover something in life that's very true. See, indecision, indecisiveness is worse than making a bad decision. This is what most military officers are taught in just about every military academy in the world. See? A good officer will sometimes make a hasty decision, but a clear decision for one objective or the other, but he will be clear and forceful and direct in one direction. And it might be the wrong decision. But you see, often as not, being indecisive, being weak, is worse than taking the wrong decision. Yeah, because in a military situation, it's quite obvious. You know, you say, for instance, your position is being attacked by the enemy, and you can go there or you can go over there, right? And the officer says, go there, and maybe over there, it's not as safe a cover as over there. But it turns out that if you stay where you are, indecisively saying, should I go there or should I go there? The platoon or the battalion or division or whatever the hell is going to get wiped out, right? So it's better to go for the place that is not as safe, the less good decision, than to be indecisive. And that's very clear insofar as the military is concerned. But see, the same effect applies to everything else in life. At least in my own experience of the times that I have been indecisive, that indecision has been catastrophic. And had I made the wrong decision, things would have been better than me, you know, stewing in this indecisiveness. See what I mean? And so the funny thing is that, see, pop culture is encouraging young men to be weakling and indecisive and all the rest of it. And what happens to these guys? They follow the rules, quote unquote. They act all indecisive and, you know, feminist and ally and all this crap, right? And what happens? They don't get any girls. They don't get any girls, and so they become bitter and resentful, right? They don't get any girls, they become bitter and resentful, and on top of that, because they are trained to be weak, they're easy to push around by whatever power du jour wants them to go here, there, wherever, right? And they don't say squat. They just nod and follow along. See? It's a disaster. So don't be like that. Don't be like that. Don't be like that. Don't be a weakling. Be like Marty McFly. Marty McFly, what was he? You know, he was a goofy kid. Yeah, he was. He was a goofy kid, but, you know, he got the hot girl. And he was competent. He was competent, and when a decision had to be made, a course of action had to be taken, he took it. He didn't wait around for the girl to tell him what to do. Because in real life, well, in the movies, the girl might have the answers. In real life, women don't have the answers. Women are much more indecisive than men. Even these weakling men, okay? And that's the truth of the matter, see? Be like Marty McFly. He was decisive, he was competent, he was capable. He was a cool guy. Don't be like the hero of Ready Player One, who's this weakling soy boy, little nothing, okay? And when you're unsure, well, you gotta do what we all do. And what we all do is we fake it. We fake strength. And oddly enough, out of that faking that strength, we draw real strength. That's the secret. Oh yeah.